Greetings and salutations, nerds. Coming up this week, we are going to be talking about Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie. It came out just this past year, 2022. It is a Netflix film in collaboration with Nickelodeon and comes at the end of and is based on the Nickelodeon series Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. So, all that and a little bit more coming right after this. I'm Richard.
And I'm Will.
And together we're
The Irreverent Nerds. Bum, bum, bum.
Nerds, I have an announcement for current and future subscribers. We have lowered our price. Now for only 99 cents per month, you'll get access to one brand new bonus episode released on the first Friday of each month, our full back catalog of bonus episodes, video versions of select regular episodes, and more. So don't wait another minute. Click on the link in the episode description and sign up today. Now on to this week's episode. Nerds! We are here in two different places. Will is in his man cave, and I am in the kid cave, aka our living room. It's where our desktop PC is set up in a central location, so that's where I'm recording from. My daughter is here, as is frequently the case when we record from home. She seems to be in a good mood though, so not the crying fits maybe that happened last week, but we'll see. Jury's out on that. Will, how you doing, my friend? How's your? Actually, I don't know if I want to tell them what day it is. No, it's okay. It's Tuesday. This occasionally happens. We have to actually record on a Tuesday where we're releasing the next day. That happens, but we still get it done. If we've been consistent on anything, it's been releasing on Wednesday. Like, I think maybe only once in the history of this podcast have we not released on a Wednesday. Maybe a Thursday once, I think. So we've at least stayed consistent with that. We like to experiment on it, or maybe at least I like to experiment. You kind of have to go along for the ride. Or I should say, it's not that you have to. You choose to. You choose to go along for the ride. You know, Will's kind of like, well, he is my friend. Anyway, what's up, man? How's life?
Life is pretty good. I'm tired today. I've got a little bit of this cough and phlegm in my throat, so I hope I don't cough during the recording, but if I do, you'll know why.
Oh man, I have that too. Maybe you got it from me.
Maybe. I don't know where I got it from.
You probably did. Like, you probably got it. Well, I got it from my daughter, and I've had it for a week. So yeah, you probably got it from us. Sorry.
Yeah, I've had it since Saturday.
Yeah, it kind of just hangs on. Mine's still hanging on after about a week. It's annoying. What you got? So, I guess we'll just. Oh, there it goes. Excuse me. I guess we'll jump into it, or try to anyway. Coughs pending, or depending on how our coughs go. We'll see. Anyway, what the heck are we talking about tonight, man? Let's get into it.
Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Rise up.
So, we're talking about the movie that this TV series spun out.
Yeah, so it was a Nickelodeon series, right?
Right.
But I'll let you read about that.
Okay. Yeah, as Nickelodeon does own the Turtles now, definitely a Nick series. The movie is a 2022 American animated superhero film directed by Andy Serrano and Ant Ward and written by Tony Gamalobo. I apologize if I'm butchering any of these names. And Rebecca May, from a story by Suriano and Ward. Produced by Nickelodeon for the streaming service Netflix, it serves as a continuation of the animated TV series Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Ben Schwartz, Omar Miller, Brandon Michael Smith, Josh Brenner, Kat Graham, and Eric Boza reprise their voice roles from the series and are joined by newcomer Haley Joel Osment.
I had no idea he was in this.
Which one?
Haley Joel Osment. That's awesome.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm guessing that was the guy who played Casey Jones.
Huh. Yeah, you might be right. That sounds right. Anyway, continue, sir.
Speaking of familiar voice actors, I need to figure out I swear up and down that Leonardo reminds me of Sokka from Avatar: The Last Airbender. I swear.
Hmm.
So I kind of want to figure that out if there's a connection there. But anyway, in the film, the Turtles, with the help of their new ally from the future, Casey Jones, set out to stop the evil alien force, the Krang, from invading Earth. A film based on Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles for Netflix was first announced in February 2019. Nickelodeon approached Suriano and Ward to make a film during development of season 2. The second season and the film were worked on simultaneously, but due to the season being shortened, the writers had to adjust the film's plot to align it with the changes made to the season's story. The majority of the animation was provided by Flying Bark Productions and Top Draw Animation, with the former having previously done an animation for the series. Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the movie, premiered on Netflix on August 5th, 2022, to generally positive reviews from critics.
Yeah, so getting back to the voice actors, like there's only two names there I recognize. Ben Schwartz, who I first saw on Parks and Recreation. Yeah, like any of you that have seen Parks and Recreation or just are on Instagram a lot, this will probably ring a bell. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious. Don't be suspicious.
Ha ha ha.
So yeah, that's that's Ben Schwartz. For those of you that have seen that either on Instagram or when you were watching Parks and Rec. So he does a voice, and then obviously Haley Joel Osment. Let's see who he plays. I'm actually curious. Let's see. Casey Jones, you were correct. So Ben Schwartz plays Leonardo. Yeah, he was on the DuckTales as well. He does a voice on DuckTales, like the new DuckTales.
Yeah, yeah. I recognized his name from that, definitely.
Then Omar Miller as Raphael, Brandon Michael Smith as Michelangelo, Josh Brenner as Donatello, Kat Graham as April O'Neil, and Cafe Woman number 3, Eric
And,
Sorry, what?
oh, sorry. My ADD. I just randomly started telling you that Ben Schwartz also played Sonic the Hedgehog in those films.
Oh, yeah, that's right. I remember you mentioning that. Yeah, so he's been around a bit. Let's see. We got Eric Bauza as Splinter, Jim Peary as Krang Leader, credited as Krang 1, because there's 3 Krangs in this movie. And then the cast is rounded out by Tox, I'm going to say this wrong, Ola Gundoye, Rob Paulson, who is a very prolific voice actor. He provides Foot Lieutenant, Panic Man, Military Soldier number 2, and Band Mover number 2. This dude has done voice acting all over the place. He was in one that we reviewed actually sometime back. The Batman Gotham Knight, where you had the multiple animated vignettes done by anime directors. Rob Paulson did the voice of the Commissioner Gordon, in that.
Oh,
but
cool.
he's been in a lot of other things too. Like he was Chucky's dad in Rugrats. That's probably one of the first things I heard him on. Anyway, we got Reese Darby, John Michael Higgins, Eugene Bird, Nika, Futterman, and Oliver Vaquer. So do you want let's take turns on the plot paragraphs here. How does that sound?
Sure.
I'll start and then we'll just alternate. So the plot. What happens in this movie? In the year 2044, the alien Krang has invaded the Earth and the resistance has fallen. You have to read it like this, by the way, Will, when you take your turn. So just so you know.
Oh boy.
Like you were making a trailer. In one final attempt, Leonardo and Michelangelo send their student, Casey Jones, back in time to stop the invasion by finding a key that allowed the Krang to come to the Earth, though it cost Leo and Mikey their lives to do so.
Casey successfully reaches the present day, several months after Shredder's defeat. Will Boyer needs to stop smoking cigarettes. After Leo breaks Donatello's pizza box stack record, Raphael alerts both of them and Mikey of a theft unfolding by Hypnopotamus and Warren Stone, with the key that Casey's looking for included among the stolen items. The turtles manage to stop them, but the Foot Clan.
you need some lemon and honey.
Yeah, but the Foot Clan arrive and claim the key. Back in the new lair, Raph and Leo get into an argument due to the latter's growing ego.
I'll go back to regular voice too, so you don't have the pressure. Meanwhile, Casey finds April O'Neil. I'm still coughing. Guys, this might be a long episode. I might. I'll have to edit that out. Meanwhile, Casey finds April O'Neil, who knocks him out. Just kidding. I'm going back to the. I think it's actually easier, believe it or not. This is weird. Casey finds April O'Neil, who knocks him out and takes him to the turtle's lair. He then explains his mission, and after mentioning the Krang, Splinter explains that they came to Earth long ago and were exiled to another realm by a band of warriors who created and used the key, which is a mystic weapon, and that they are worshipped by the Foot. To be more precise, the Foot Clan. The Turtles, along with April, Splinter, and Casey, go after the Foot Clan, who have managed to open the portal. Their fight against the Krang causes them to lose their mystic powers, forcing them to retreat. But Leo manages to seize the key and close the portal. To protect Leo, Ralph forces him to escape while he is captured.
Afterward, the remaining turtles, along with Casey, go after the Krang and Raph, while Splinter and April remain behind to get rid of the key. The Krang manage to find the turtles' lair through Raph. They parasitically possess the members of the Foot Clan and send them after the key while they prepare the portal on top of Metro Tower, the tallest building in the city. What happened to the Empire State Building? The turtles and Casey are ambushed in the subway tunnels and get separated. Casey calls out Leo for his arrogance, revealing the truth about what happens to his family in the future before they reunite with the rest of the turtles. They then find Raph, who has been possessed by the Krang, and seizes the key. The Krang then use the key to open the portal and bring forth the Technodrome.
While April, Splinter, and Casey occupy the Krang forces, the Turtles board the ship. Leo goes after Raph, while Donnie and Mikey try to seize control of the ship. They are captured, but Leo reaches out to Raph and helps break him free, and the other brothers manage to regain their mystic powers. The four fight valiantly, but the Krang are too strong. With Mikey, Donnie, and Raph thrown out of the ship during the battle, Leo forces the Krang back to their prison realm and orders Casey to close the portal, which destroys the Technodrome and traps Leo in the realm with the enraged Krang. But Mikey, Raph, and Donnie save him using Mikey's newly developed portal powers, leaving the Krang alone in the prison realm. Dun dun dun.
Sometime later, the heroes enjoy pizza on top of the Brooklyn Bridge, with Casey revealing that former Foot Clan recruit Cassandra Jones is his mother. They watch the city as it is being rebuilt and make a vow to defend it when it is needed. Afterward, Raph tries to break Leo's pizza box stack record.
Speaking of pizza box stack record, which I think is, if I remember, that's how the movie starts, isn't it? Leonardo is trying to break the record set by Donatello, and I had the comment, "How can they afford all those pizzas? It's like 100 pizzas. That's like $1,200. That's like $1,200. Probably more if you're buying it in New York City. Like, where did they get all this money? Did they steal the pizzas? Did they make them themselves? Did they come from a vortex? Dimension X, perhaps. What's your theory, Will, or perhaps your
Bro,
hypothesis?
I've watched the first 2 episodes of this show in preparation for seeing this movie, and I just couldn't after episode 2. I just couldn't. In episode 2, they meet a beaver man, and Don Color and Mikey build this puppy mill theme park for the beaver man out of nothing, like except for timber from the forest, and it's like a theme park, and you're just left. How did they build this? Where did they get the concrete? Could they afford to build all this?
Hmm.
We'll never know. That's just the logic of this show, Richard. The pizza box thing is nothing.
That reminds me of there's a show my girls they kind of go in cycles, but for a while it was like hardcore like Paw Patrol, Paw Patrol, Paw Patrol. Anyone who's a parent of young children knows what that is. And even if you have like Paramount Plus or Nickelodeon, you probably know what it is too. But like the Paw Patrol, they're run by like a 12-year-old kid for one thing. There's no adults involved. So it's this group of giant puppies who go around rescuing the people of Adventure Bay, run by a 12-year-old. And somehow they have the funds to build all these ridiculously large and complex machines and vehicles and all kinds of robotics, and it's crazy. But when they made a movie, they actually addressed that a little bit, kind of tongue in cheek. They're like, oh yeah, it's from all the Paw Patrol merch that we sell.
Yeah.
That's how we fund this giant tower. I thought that was fun. But obviously with a lot of series you suspend belief, and it's just like, okay, the writers are just having fun. It's like they're not trying to ground this thoroughly in reality. It's not the goal. um but yeah, how would you say it rates compared to the original series? I imagine there's not a big difference between the two in that regard.
Well, I'm gonna say this series is more entertaining than the original series. But as far as ridiculousness goes, I don't really know. I think I've only seen 2 episodes, for one
This is
thing,
true. This is true.
in the movie. But I assume Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles at least holds up better than the original series. I remember we tried watching an episode from season 5 together, and I was just having a hard time with it. It was
Yeah.
the episode where Krang wants to brainwash everybody on the radio.
Why
Um,
can't I do this radio? Why isn't it working? For those of you who can't see this because we're not doing a video episode, I was shaking my jowls as I spoke it.
Jowls.
Turtles. um, yeah, Brian Wingrove still needs to do a mashup of Krang and Zoidberg. I still want to see that. So Brian, if you're listening, like the gauntlet has been laid down. Maybe he's already done it and put it on Facebook and we just missed it. But if not, Brian, let's go, man. um, anyway, so speaking of the Krang, I thought perhaps we could take a few minutes to compare the Krang in this film and to the Krang or Krang singular, perhaps in the original series. Now you've seen more of the original series than I have, so were there ever other members of the Krang? Like, were the aliens even known as the Krang? Because my memory is that you just had the singular alien in that robotic body, and everyone just called him Krang. But was his species also called the Krang?
Well, in the original series, it's never explained. In the comic books and the 2003 show, actually, the species is the Utrom.
The Utrom.
The Utrom. In the 2003 series, there is a Krang, a Utrom named Krang, but what this is lifting from is actually the 2012 series. In the 2012 series, the Krang is an entire alien race, and they're all evil.
Yeah, or at the very least, as we would describe evil, because they have no empathy, right?
Right.
No empathy, no sympathy, no compassion. So the very, I guess, definition of what we would refer to as evil, I guess.
I will say that the Krang in this movie are the first Krangs that are not completely helpless. It's like why do they even have robot bodies if they can just do all that without with their tentacles?
I know, yeah, like the first Krang, Krang number one, apparently they never give them names in the movie. I don't know about the series, but in the movie, I don't know if they even pop up regularly in the series or not. But in the movie, in the credits, apparently he's just Krang number one, but in the movie, he's never given a name. But you have Krang one and Krang two and Krang three, which I just thought of the Three Stooges. So I guess Krang one would be Mo. Mo? Yeah, Mo. And then I guess Larry would be the female Krang would be Larry or Larina. No. And then Curly, of course, is Krang number three, who suspiciously looks suspiciously like no Alma. Looks suspiciously like Krang of the from the original series. He was about the right size. Like he was definitely smaller than the other two Krangs. He looked more like Krang from the '80s series.
Yeah, he did. I don't think he had any speaking parts though.
He did not. He just like stuck his tentacles on the ground and made things happen. Never. I was waiting for him to speak. I was like, they're gonna do an impression of Krang's voice that I just know it, and they didn't do it. Lost opportunity there. Turtles,
Yeah.
turtle producers. um, let's see. So yeah, so in this case, they're an entire alien race, and like you said, like they had awesome fighting skills. It looked like I don't even tentacles is even the right word, but like they were as hard as swords. Like like Leo was like clashing swords with whatever you want to call it, a tentacle. So it was it had some kind of hard reinforced, I don't know, exoskeleton perhaps. And yet the female Krang got shot several times, got shot through the head like fairly easily. So it was a little inconsistent, I suppose.
Well, I don't think that they were able to be hurt until April O'Neil splashed that mystery chemical on them, and the movie never explains what that chemical even is.
Yeah, it's just something her university was working on that she was trying to investigate. I don't know if it was something like a bioweapon, military, if that's what she suspected. But it definitely was very powerful. Whatever it was, it destroyed like 10 to 20% of the female Krang's face. Her eye was
Yeah.
gone. But yeah, it's pretty explosive. Whatever it was, mystery goo. So, all right. So there's a couple of things that we talk about. What do you think of the fight scenes in the movie? There was a lot of them.
Well, they were good. They were decent.
So
Yeah,
pretty
what do you think?
definitely epic for sure. Pretty
Oh
epic.
yeah.
Yeah, I thought the animation was very well done with the fight scenes. I was able to follow them. Some fight scenes you get lost. I was able to follow the action, and it was epic. Like now I don't have. If I had epilepsy, I probably wouldn't want to watch this. Uh, it might give you a seizure. It's very active.
Very active.
Yeah, certainly. I mean, I'm sure they had a bigger budget, and obviously the technology has advanced quite a bit, but uh, it's improved quite a bit from since the '80s.
Oh yeah.
What about the humor? Like, I know I laughed quite a few times. How about you?
Yeah, the humor is definitely something this series or incarnation of the Turtles is known for. I really did like the humor, even though it's different. My man Michelangelo is no longer the jokester. Now Leo is. It's different, but I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the chemistry between the voice actors and the characters.
Yeah, that was a interesting dynamic. I'm assuming it was consistent maybe through the series to some extent as well.
Oh
But
yes,
as we begin the movie, like Raphael is the leader. He's like he's acting as the oldest and the leader of the group of turtles. So was that true in the first two episodes as well, from what you
it
noticed?
is. Um, yeah, it definitely is in the first two episodes.
So that's definitely different, a divergence, at least from the original run of the comics. As like, was Leo the leader more or less in the original run of the comics? I know he certainly was in the '80s TV series.
Leonardo has consistently been the oldest turtle and the leader in all incarnations up until Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Nice. So they decided to play around with it a bit. I
Yeah,
wonder. I wonder if that's part of the reason it got canceled. If just too many people were like, "Nope, that's not my turtles."
I don't know. I really don't. I mean, um, I feel like there wasn't a lot of hype around this version of the Turtles. There wasn't a lot of marketing. The movie itself, I didn't even know it existed. Um,
Yeah,
and
I didn't either until I
yeah,
was resubscribed to Netflix and I saw it on there. I was like, "Oh, this looks cool."
um, I don't know why the second season got cut in half and shortened to only 13 episodes. Um, so I don't know. Maybe it wasn't popular. Maybe the toys weren't selling. I'm not really sure.
Hmm.
But you got a good point there. Maybe people, were saying it's this is not my turtles. It was definitely different.
Yeah, like I liked it. I liked seeing Raph
Yeah.
more in a leadership role. Um, and Leo obviously he grows at least in the film. I can't say I can't speak for the series because I haven't watched it at this point, but um, over the course of the film, you have character development in Leonardo. He starts to become a leader towards the end, and he and Raph in that regard become more equals by the end of the film. Spoiler warning, by the way, of course. If we hadn't already said it, that's somewhat implied. We haven't gotten into too many of the details yet, though. So I suppose up until this point, I don't know that we've really spoiled anything of consequence. But yeah, in terms of Leo's character arc, which is not a surprise. I mean, you would expect that because at the very beginning of the film, you see him. What was it? 20 or so years into the future. Like,
Yeah.
um, he at that point has become definitely a leader and a teacher. He's the sensei for Casey, and I don't know if he's like a general in whatever army exists at that time, but he's definitely a leader by that point. Um, Now they don't explain, and I don't, maybe this is covered in the series. They don't explain like when you go to the scenes from the future with Casey when he's before he's sent back in time. They don't explain what happened to Raph. Um, the only reference we get is Casey says they're dead. They're all dead. Because Leo, well, at least it's assumed that Leo was killed after making sure that Casey gets through the portal that Mike creates, and Michelangelo is killed. At least that's the assumption. Is killed.
Yeah.
He dies making the portal to send Casey back in time, and then Leonardo, it seems, is about to be overwhelmed by the Krang, and so Casey believes that they're both dead, and then I'm assuming Donatello and Raph have already died, but there's no explanation given for why or how.
Right.
Um, and perhaps that is covered in the series. Um, those of you that have seen it, feel free to let us know. I doubt I'll ever get around to seeing the whole thing. I just don't have time. but but yeah, no, I was kind of interested in that detail, and they never really got into it. Aside from that one little speech with Casey and just saying that they're all dead.
Yeah, we don't get to see how any of the other characters die, just Mikey and Leo.
Yeah, like Mike, I guess it takes so much energy and he's already old. Although at that point, this is like 20 something years in the future, you would have only been like my age, like, which I don't know how old that is for that type of turtle, but that's like in his 40s, maybe.
And yet he has this old man hair.
Yeah, he's got little gray hair, tufts of gray hair for some reason, even though turtles have no hair.
Yeah.
um, Mikey, the old man, because 40 is old AF.
Well, in the 2012 Turtles, they had a apocalyptic future episode as well, and Raphael's got a full beard.
Tell me how that works.
I don't know.
I guess if you can be turned into a giant humanoid, why not? Why not have a beard?
Yeah.
And you're also.
Do I just talk in the microphone here? Okay, here goes. Nerds, I am here to tell you, if I never see another leech again, it'll be too soon. Damn, I hate leeches. Anyway, I wanted to take a minute to inform you. Oh, by the way, this is Raph. You know, the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle, Raphael, that's me. Anyway, I wanted to take a minute to inform you that the irreverent nerds want to hear from you. There are a multitude of ways you can contact them. Number 1, follow them on Instagram at irreverent_nerds. Number 2, like their fan page on Facebook, The Irreverent Nerds. Number 3, reply to episode questions and polls when you listen on Spotify. Number 4, leave them a voice message at theirreverentnerds.com. Number 5, follow them individually on Instagram at ourbest_WS and at cartoonistwill. And you get the picture, right? Reach out, connect, let them know what you think, even if you think they stink. They want to hear from you. All right, can I go now? I have some pizza to eat and some heads to smash. All right, later.
Nerds, we're back. Sorry for that unceremonious interruption. I lost track of the time on the recording and it just cut us off. Will, I believe we were talking about Raphael having a beard in the 2012 series when last we spoke.
Yes.
Yeah, and just it's like, I mean, if they can become giant humanoids who have crushes on human females, then why not a beard, right? Still a little weird though.
A little bit.
A little bit. Oh. Excuse me. So, thought we'd jump back on the Krang a little bit here.
Yeah.
I was thinking during our little break here in between segments about the way that the Krang were designed as villains, and I think they're what you would call a simple evil. In other words, they're just pure evil in the cinematic sense. Like they don't have anything approximating altruistic motives. They're not just misguided, like say Thanos might be. You could argue for that in the Marvel Cinematic Universe that Thanos has some good motivations, but he's definitely misguided. They just want to conquer everything and kill anyone who gets in their way. It's kind of a simple evil. There's no complexity there. So like I was thinking of talking about the pros and cons of that versus a more complex evil who Shredder, even to some extent, like for instance in the 1990 film that we reviewed earlier actually technically last month, but kind of kicking off our Turtles run. He has a little bit of complexity to him in that there's some backstory, some connection between him and Splinter. So there's some humanizing in a sense of the character there, but with the Krang in this movie, not the case. Like there's no humanization in that sense. There's no nuance really to the type of evil that they represent. So myself, and you can think about this as I'm talking and see what you have to say as well. My thought is that there's a the pro one of the pros to that in a movie format is that it allows the writers and the filmmakers to focus more on the hero's journey within that, similar to maybe Lord of the Rings, where Sauron is a very simple evil in the sense like it's very black and white. He's evil.
Yes.
you know a majority of his followers are driven by instinct or are enslaved to his will. With the exception of Gollum, there's not a lot of complexity, in that sense. um at least not as much as you might find in some other series, such as Star Wars, for instance, with Darth Vader. There's a little
Right.
more complexity. But it seems to me that one of the pros of having a simple evil is that the focus then can be more on the heroes and the hero's journey. In this case, Leo being the main focal point in his character development throughout the film. Um, but I'm curious as to whether you had any thoughts on that, like the way they set up the villains in this story.
Well, I was pretty fine with it. I honestly didn't really think about the Krang having any sort of character arc or, well, not a, development. I'm not sure if character arc is the right term or not, but I didn't really consider them to have character development. I didn't expect it.
Yeah, they they,
Uh,
they definitely don't. at
yeah,
least not at least not in the course of this film, anyway.
unless losing an eye is character development.
Maybe a physical character development, perhaps.
Yeah,
Yeah, I guess if anything, that character just gets more and more angry and vengeful but she seems like she was that way out of the gate. They've been imprisoned for how many years was it? Was it 10,000 years? It was a
a
long time.
thousand, I think.
Was it 1,000 years? It was a long time, however long
Yeah,
that they were imprisoned in. Did they say it was Dimension X, or did it have a different name? I was trying to remember.
I don't think it had a name.
Yeah, so it was just kind of a mystic. They using mystical powers. The I forget even who allegedly did it, but they was it ninjas? Did they say it was ninjas? I was trying to recall.
Yeah, four mystical ninjas with the same colors as the turtles.
Ah, okay. All this has happened before. All of this will happen again. It's a Battlestar Galactica reference for those who are not in the know.
Yay.
The newer Battlestar Galactica, by the way, not the old one.
Ah.
Yeah, I recommend, but I only recommend one watch because it can be a little depressing, but it's brilliantly written. Anyway, side note. So let's see. I distracted myself. uh so in general, we were talking about the Krang. We were talking about simple evil versus a more complex evil.
Right.
Um, so how would you say that might compare to a movie like, for instance, Avengers Infinity War, where Thanos is definitely much more fleshed out? His motivations are more fleshed out. How would you say having a simple evil versus a more complex evil within the course of one film, like how would you say that compares?
Well, I believe your assessment is correct. I do prefer Thanos as a villain over the Krang, of course, but uh, as far as this Turtles movie goes, a simple evil, uh, it worked. It helped out, so we can focus on all the other juggling puzzle pieces. Uh, but yeah, I really did like the portrayal of Thanos in Infinity War. So I think that a complex villain is to be preferred if possible.
Yeah, and then obviously in the MCU, with the heroes stories, you already have the benefit of more than a dozen movies and
Right.
individual movies, so they've been able to already build up the hero characters and have development for them. So the big end game movie didn't have to be all about the heroes necessarily. You could have because you've been building up and suggesting the villain over a long course of time. Now, I don't know if that was the case in the series. I don't know if the Krang were like being hinted at, or if there was any buildup of suspense of like what are the Krang. My guess is that there probably was some of that, but having not seen the series, I don't know for sure.
Yeah, I
But
don't know. We read on Wikipedia that season 2, all 13 episodes of it anyway, were developed in conjunction with the movie.
mhm.
So it's possible they were leaving little breadcrumbs leading up to the film, but I don't know.
Yeah, that's probably the case. Like I imagine, so it might be worth watching season 2 itself, um, you know, and just seeing how it builds up to the movie is essentially the end of the series. At least that seems to be the case. And I say it goes out pretty strongly. As series, if you want to call it a series finale, it's a pretty strong ending, I'd say.
Yeah.
Better than Lost.
Oh, burn.
uh, I didn't hate everything about the Lost ending, but there were a lot of questions left unanswered, which frustrated so many people. And it turned out, I think you were the one that you were
My
the one
joke.
you were the one that broke that story to me. I think about it was still season 5 of Lost, and you told me you saw on the internet that someone spoiled it and was like, "Hey, they're in purgatory the whole time." I remember you telling me that.
I don't know. That was just a fan theory floating around, and the producers and whatnot all shot it down. No, that's not true. And then the season finale hits, and
It was pretty
I
much
don't know.
That's pretty much
Yeah,
what it definitely seemed like. That's what it was. Some version of purgatory,
yeah.
or at
I
the
have
very
no
least,
idea.
inspired by purgatory. Um, yeah, the fans were correct, which maybe the writers wanted to leave enough of a hint for people to get that, so maybe it wasn't that far fetched for the viewers to guess that. Um,
Yeah,
and obviously, as the writers, you don't want to give that away before the final season. Like you don't want to do that, so they wouldn't have admitted it. Anyway, so as series finales go, this is a very strong one, I think. Now, those who have seen the whole series, you can contest that. Like if you think it left some things undone from the series itself, feel free to let us know. As always, you can contact us. You can leave us a voice message, which we will include in the next week's episode, or you can DM us on Instagram. We're at irreverent_nerds. You can hit us up on Facebook. Just look us up. We're the Irreverent Nerds. That's our fan page. You can send us I believe it. You can do direct message there, if I'm not mistaken. At the very least, you can comment on our posts there.
I'm
And
in.
yeah. Let us know what you think. As I've been during Turtles Month. I've been playing the little Roth segment, and as Roth would say, like, let them know, even if you think they stink. Let us know. We appreciate feedback. Because like, how can we do better? You know, there's always room for improvement in any podcast. Certainly ours is no exception. Anyway, back to the Turtles. So, was there anything that you wanted to talk about that we haven't discussed yet about the film?
Um,
Putting you on the spot.
well, it's really weird how the Krang parasitically control or mutate the other characters, but from what I read on the Wikipedia, they wanted the Krang to be more of a menace, more dangerous than season 2 villain Shredder. So they changed a few things about the Krang. They changed the Krang to be much bigger and much more formidable. Um, they changed how the Krang or mutate other characters. Um, the origin of the turtles is completely different in the rise of the TMNT. In most series, the the Utrom or the Krang are actually responsible for mutating the turtles. Um, I think the only origins that don't do that is the New Mutant Mayhem, and although technically it's still connected to someone named Utrom, but and this series where Baron Draxum is actually creating a mutagen deep in some underground city underneath New York City. Um, well, yeah, we still see the Krang mutating people in this film using, I don't know what they're doing. You mentioned earlier the little Krang puts its tentacles on the ground and does stuff. I think that was a part of it. I said a lot, didn't I? Broke your brain.
No, sorry, I was reading through some of the production notes while you were talking here just to see if there was anything relevant. Excuse me. Yeah, it is interesting. Like that. I didn't think too much about it in the course of the film, but yeah, the Shredders, even though the Foot Clan are involved, Shredder doesn't appear at all. Um, Although I did wonder, the leader of the Foot Clan, there was a leader. I was like, who is that? Like, I don't know if they ever say. But it seemed like, yeah, this is not Shredder, but like he was a little bit different than the other clan members.
Oh, right. Um, yeah, they did away with Shredder at the end of season 2. I did see a clip of that where they introduced Cassandra Jones, but I don't really know a lot about it other than Shredder seems to be a demon of some kind in this version.
Huh, interesting. Okay. I guess that makes sense, like with the series as a whole, and definitely this film focusing more on mystic powers and whatnot. That is one thing. Obviously, I'm sure the series deals with this, or I would assume it does. That the movie did not dive into how the turtles. It didn't dive much into how the turtles got their mystic powers in the first place. But again, it's designed to be the end of the series, so my guess is that the series dealt with that, like how they. I think there was a couple of passing references made to it. Do you recall like how they got their mystic powers?
Well, that's in season 2. I was actually just reading that here. Apparently, it involves Karai teaching them to connect to their Hamato ancestors.
Ah,
Uh, that the Hamato ancestors must have been what we saw in this film. The 4 ninjas with the same color bands that
right.
uh, locked away the Krang. I guess there's definitely some stuff we missed since we didn't see the whole series.
So they're mystic ancestors. I guess depends on whether they were also turtles or mutant turtles or not. But it'd be, I guess, mystic ancestors, not like literal biological ancestors. I'm assuming,
Yeah.
unless they were also turtles, which that would be interesting.
I take back what I said earlier about every origin of the turtles being connected to the Krang or Utrom, except for a couple. The IDW, I can't remember what those comics do, but they actually have Hamato ancestors in that one as well, so that could be borrowing from that comic series. Also, um, I just remembered that the Michael Bay film Spitooey Spit uh, do not feature Krang or the Utrom in the backstory of the Turtles mutation. Um, so just a brief disclaimer there.
Okay, okay. By the way, side note, the showrunners Andy Soriano, and I saw this in the credits, Ant Ward. Like I'm guessing the guy's full name is, if it's a guy, is Anthony, and he just goes by Ant for short, but maybe not. How'd you like to be known as Ant? Like, hey, what's your name? Ant. Why are you somebody's aunt? No, no, I'm not. My name is Ant. Wait for Anthony. I'm curious about that actually. Is it Anthony? Or is it something else? Tell me, Aunt. Tell me. Anyway, that's not that important. It's just a side note. All right. Oh, what else should we talk about? Should we talk about anything else? We got a few minutes to go yet. Let me see. Splinter. So let's talk about Splinter for a minute.
Yeah.
How did you like this series slash movies, Splinter versus other iterations? What were your thoughts?
Well, my original thought when I first saw the first episode of the series is that I hated this iteration of Splinter. But honestly, seeing the clip of Splinter and the Turtles taking on the demonic Shredder, um, actually, I came to really like this Splinter. He's definitely I've definitely warmed up to him. Now, episodes 2, short story about Splinter getting the flu was weird as heck, though. But otherwise, I like the Splinter.
Nice. I was looking at the voice actor, and it appears he is of Asian descent, but he's a Canadian. He's a Canadian voice actor, animator, and comedian.
Philip J. Fry here with my friends Bender and Hermes. We're coming to you live from. Where are we? Where are we, guys? I don't know. Okay, well, anyway, we're going to talk to you about the River Nerds podcast. We're excited because they're going to be talking about our show, Futurama, on next week's episode of the podcast, not our show, of course. Bender, did you have anything you wanted to say to the audience? Bite my shiny metal ass. Bender! What? Hermes, talk to Bender. Bender, you know you're not supposed to be talking like that. You agreed to stop cursing. If you don't stop, I'm going to dock next week's pay. Well, I guess that's all for this message. So, hey, tune in next week and listen to the nerds talk about Futurama. Ha.
His most known roles include Stimpy on Ren and Stimpy Adult Party cartoon,
Wow.
which I'm assuming that's a more recent iteration. Foop on The Fairly Odd Parents, Thunderbolt Ross on Iron Man Armored Adventures, and Fozzie Bear on Muppet Babies. And that's probably the newer. I'm pretty sure that's the newer Muppet Babies on Disney Junior.
Oh, okay.
But he's currently the voice of many characters, including Daffy Duck, Bugs Bunny, Tweety Bird, Pepe Le Pew, Marvin the Martian, Dino, Woody Woodpecker, Lego Luke Skywalker, interesting, and Chris the Red Goobler. For his role in Looney Tunes cartoons, Bowser won the first ever Children's and Family Emmy Award for Outstanding Voice Performance in an Animated Program. Oh, okay, he's Filipino descent.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Filipino. Nice. Well, that's cool. That's cool. So, okay, he's about the same age as us. He graduated from college in 2000, so that means he was probably born in 82. So yeah, around our age. But yeah, it looks like he's gotten into cartoons more recently, maybe by way of Cartoon Network at some point. But yeah, that's pretty cool. He plays a lot of the Looney Tunes characters, quite a few actually.
Cool.
So yeah, that's interesting. So he's been acting since 1997. Nice. He was in a G.I. Joe cartoon at some point.
Did they have new G.I. Joe cartoons since '97?
Apparently there's this one called G.I. Joe Resolute. It came out. It's an adult animated web series based on the G.I. Joe franchise. Created by some Cartoon Network producers. Okay, Interesting. So it debuted on the web at Adult Swim Video in 2009.
Ah,
GI Joe Resolution. So yeah, an adult version. That would be interesting, actually. I think. um.
we
Anyway,
get to explore GI Joe's PTSD.
yeah, maybe so. Maybe so. As well as his love interests. Uh, nice. I was looking at so Reese Darby, who plays Hypnopotamus, was in the new Jumanji movies. That he
Oh,
he plays the
did, did he play a hippopotamus?
no, not the hippopotamus that eats Jack Black. Uh, but no, he
I
plays
thought I
the
recognized him.
he plays like the I don't know if he's the narrator, but he's the character that introduces them to the world of Jumanji.
Okay.
He's like, here's your mission. This is what you're gonna do. That's him. So I enjoyed both of those films, by the way. I thought they were well done
Nice.
and funny, and yeah, good action films. Yeah, just a good cast as well. It was very enjoyable.
I haven't seen the second one yet.
It's good. I recommend it. Does not take a step down at all. I don't think from the first film in terms of quality. And yeah, Kevin Hart and The Rock are they're pretty hilarious together. They've been in quite a few things together, including DC, was it Super Pets, League of Super Pets?
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
My kids like that. So we've gotten far afield from Turtles, I feel like. Talking about DC League of Super Pets here.
I'm
I
sure
thought
there's a turtle in there somewhere.
actually, I don't know. I don't know. There is a Jonas brother though in there. That he does make an appearance. Nick Jonas. Anyway, so we still got some time here. Um, well, I guess we can talk a little bit about just wrapping up Turtles month, and
Yeah.
yeah, so this has been kind of a fun and interesting romp through the Turtles world. Did you enjoy it?
I did. I did enjoy it. And it pains me to say this, but I came to the conclusion that yes, Mutant Mayhem is better than the 91 film
Uh, yeah,
or 90 film, whichever year that was.
1990.
90.
I would say they're pretty close. Like the 90 film definitely follows the early comics a little more. So depending on how much you love the early comics, like I feel like it does follow a little closer to that, right? But
Well, I think it's my preference, the 1990 film, but I won't. I came to the realization that even though I hated to admit it, that the Mutant Mayhem film was really good.
yeah, I think if you compare them film to film just on their own merits, yeah, that's probably true. Um, yeah, it's a shame that it's not doing super great in the theater. I think it's just barely broke the 100 million mark at this point, which I don't know how much it cost to make, but yes, I think it got overwhelmed by Barbenheimer. It's unfortunate, it was
Yeah.
released just after that came out, so it kind of got overwhelmed by the cultural onslaught that has been Barbenheimer. Which, by the way, my wife and I are definitely going to go see Barbie at some point, um, before it leaves theaters. That's the plan. Because yeah, it's written by two what I would say brilliant writers. Noah Baumbach, whom I really appreciate his films. Up to this point, he's mostly done independent films. I think probably the best known film that he's done is called Marriage Story, which was on Netflix film. I think I believe it won um, an Oscar, I believe, or it definitely was nominated. He collaborates with Adam Driver quite a bit in his
Oh,
films,
cool.
but he has also collaborated with Greta Gerwig, and I think at least two of his films she has been an actress, and one of them, which I just saw the other week, Frances Ha, she's a collaborator. a co-writer, I should say, as well. But so it made sense that they would then collaborate on this new film. So I've heard the writing is really good and sharp and witty, which one would expect from the two of them, and it gets pretty meta, apparently. And so yeah, like do plan to catch that at some point. Don't know if we'll end up dropping a review or not, but we're definitely gonna see it together. So
Yeah.
yeah, it doesn't quite fit into the Irreverent Nerds universe. Yeah, we could make it fit, I suppose. Um, but yeah, it's not quite in our milieu, as they say.
Not quite. So, we didn't watch all the turtle films this month. We definitely didn't watch the Michael Bay films, but in your opinion, I don't want to tread over ground we've already treaded over, but is there a better Turtles film than Mutant Mayhem? I mean, what's your opinion on the best?
uh, of the ones I've seen thus far, I would say I would rate that the best. Of the
Okay.
ones I've seen so far, I would still rate that the best. I did thoroughly enjoy this film, the
Yeah.
Rise of the TMNT. Um, Now, in fairness, I think I've only seen, let's see, 5 Turtles movies total. So I've seen the 1990 film. Obviously, I did see the third live action Turtles movie, but it's been a long time since I've seen it, probably
Right.
over 20 years. So I don't remember a lot about it. Um, so I can't really give an honest comparison with that film. But among the ones I've watched more recently, like the 2007 animated film,
Right.
and I have not bothered to see either one of the Michael Bay films, so I can't compare those. But of the 5 that I have seen, I think it's fair to say Mutant Mayhem is number one. I think, and some of this is nostalgia and just my appreciation for the comics as well. I think I would rate the 90 film number 2 at this point, and then I think
Yeah.
of the ones I've seen, Rise of the TMNT, it might come in third. I really would need to revisit the 2007 film again just to compare the two. But I think in general, I enjoyed this film more than that one. I think maybe that one struggled a little bit with pacing, perhaps was a little slow, if memory serves me. So it would be kind of a close competition between those two, but I might rate this one we just saw, which some of that might be recency bias, but I think I would rate it number 3, and then the 2007 film number 4, and then probably Turtles 3, which again, it's been a long time since I've seen it, but that would probably come in at number 5 of the 5
Okay.
that I've seen. How about you? What would now you've seen? I think you've seen all of them. Have you not? All the movies?
Yeah, now that I've seen Rise, the movie, I have seen all the films. Um,
So what would your top 5 be?
well, the Michael Bay film, I would put very low on the totem pole. I just didn't enjoy it all that much. um, so let's see. Well, I'm biased, but the '90s film is my favorite. But I have to admit that there are better turtle films than the original. Mutant Mayhem definitely being probably the best film to date. Um, I would say that Rise of the Turtles probably does come in at a third for me, um, followed by the 2007 film, and, and then Secrets of the Ooze, and the third film, Turtles in Time, or whatever it was called. I can't remember. And yeah, the Michael Bay films, I'm going to put them square at the bottom. With the second Michael Bay film being better than the first one, Out of the Shadows.
So let's see. There's been 8 total films. Is that right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Yeah, so 8 total. So those would be number 7 and number 8, respectively. on your list, and I think
Yeah.
I don't even have to see them to know that I would rate them the same. Just knowing Michael Bay. Yeah, like he's not known for his depth of plot or character development necessarily. He's known for blowing shit up.
Yeah, that
That's
was pretty much the first Turtles film. Oh, it's Megan Fox. She's hot. Oh, let's blow some stuff up now.
excuse me. Yeah,
That
no,
was the plot of several films.
yeah, it was. Um, yeah, several of the Transformers movies, which I've not seen all of those. I think I've seen the first 4, or maybe the first 3, and then the 5th one. I
Yeah.
forget. I think I've seen 4 out of all of the ones that came out. I think, and yeah, I think the third one of those might actually be the best. Which maybe someday we'll review one of those. But yeah, I want to say the third might be the best, and it also has Anthony
Okay.
Hopkins in it, which that's pretty impressive. I have to say that they landed Anthony Hopkins. You know, he had some gravitas, although he doesn't have a lot to work with necessarily in terms of material. But hey, you know, Anthony, you took the role, man. You didn't have to do that. So, but no, he kind of lends that weight and that gravitas to whatever film he's in. I think, at least every film I've ever seen him in, I would say, he just oozes that. I'm the wise old man, you know, and you should listen to me. Yeah. Anyway, so yeah, so our TMNT, we should do a post on this, I think, or at least a story, maybe a Facebook post on our Turtles films rated.
Yeah.
So I think the only one there's 3 that I haven't seen. I don't remember seeing Secrets of the Ooze, the second film. I don't think I've ever seen it, if memory serves. And obviously have not seen the Bay films. So
Right.
but no, I think would you rate what no, remind me the title of the third live action film again.
Well, I want to say Turtles in Time, but that's also an arcade game. So let me just look it up right quick. It's just called Turtles 3.
Oh, okay, that's it. Turtles 3
Yeah,
then. Would you rate that above Secrets of the Ooze?
no. Um, I would not rate it above Secret of the Ooze, but it's also true that I haven't seen that one in a very long time.
Okay.
But
So
but personally,
that would be number 6 in your rating then.
probably.
Okay.
I think that's what I said earlier.
Yeah, so you had Mutant Mayhem number 1, a 90s film number 2, then the 2007 film number 3. Oh wait. No, did you have Rise at number 3? I think you had Rise, the new film we just watched, at number 3. Then the 2007 film at number 4, which was just TMNT, right? I think it was just called TMNT.
Yeah, though they were pretty evenly matched, but I think I agree with your assessment that Rise was better.
Yeah, I think it's just more entertaining.
Yeah.
You know, that I don't remember there being much, if any, humor in the 2007 film, which I do like having some humor in my Turtles. You know, you gotta have at least a little bit in there. And I just remember
Yeah.
it being pretty serious. You know, they definitely had some of the conflict between Raph and Leonardo, which was also in Rise. But yeah, I just don't remember there being much humor in that film. So it was, yeah, not as enjoyable of a film, I don't think.
Right.
If memory, again, I don't think I've seen it since around the time it came out. So I'm speaking from memory, but from what I recall, I don't remember a lot of humor or lightheartedness in that film. Maybe a little bit with Mikey. I imagine they might have had some with Mikey, but I'm not sure.
I
Anyway,
remember Mikey being a birthday party character. That's about it.
oh yes, that does sound familiar. Anyway, we're coming up on our 2-minute warning here. So getting back to Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, how many nerd hats would you give it out of 5?
I don't know, maybe a 3 out of 5.
Okay. I'm going to say 3.5 out of 5.
Okay.
I feel like I'm always a little more generous than perhaps I should be, but yeah, I think it's a fair rating. I really enjoyed it. It was well done. The plot was good. Like it wasn't too deep, but it wasn't too shallow either. It had enough weight to it. I feel like it was animated beautifully. The music supported the film well. I don't remember being taken out of the film at all by the music. I think it supported it well. And so yeah, all around good, enjoyable film. Yeah, I would say 3.5 Nerdettes. So you give it 3 and I do 3.5. All right, cool. Well, so next week, and Will, actually this will be the first time you're hearing about this, but like we're gonna have the rest of season 4. We're definitely gonna try and have a stronger emphasis on animation. We've been trying to do that already a little bit during season 4. Just have more of a focus on animated films and shows. So we're gonna kick off next month with Futurama.
Nice.
I'm gonna try and get access to one of the movies so we can make it a little simpler and but if not, then we'll focus on 1 or 2 episodes and kind of keep it more specific and talk about that show, which both Will and I enjoy, and obviously created by Matt Groening of Simpsons fame. So it's if the Simpsons were in space, it'd be pretty close to Futurama.
Yeah. So I look forward to it. We'll talk more about that later.
Yeah. So Will's finding out about that right here. But
yeah, I was gonna start talking about it, but I was like, oh yeah, we're almost out of time. So
yeah, look forward to that next week. Words,
yeah.
Nerds. So until then. Thank you so much for joining us for another episode of the Irreverent Nerds podcast. If you would, consider following us on Instagram. We are there at irreverent_nerds. You can also hit us up on Facebook. Just look us up there at The Irreverent Nerds. That's our fan page. We have a YouTube channel as well. Once again, The Irreverent Nerds. Nice and simple, right? And if you go to www.irreverentnerds.com, that will send you to our Podcasters for Spotify, formerly Anchor.fm profile, where you can send us a voice message if you want to, you can support us financially, or listen to the podcast. It will also direct you to other places you can listen, like Spotify, Apple, Google, Stitcher, you name it. So, like, comment, subscribe, follow, all those good things, wherever you find us, wherever you listen to us, we would greatly appreciate it. Until next time, nerds, live long and prosper. Avengers assemble! I'm Batman.